Hey Gemini, welcome to your mid-May check-in for 2021. It's a general reading, so you may get a little, you may get a lot, you may get nothing at all, but be sure to check your sun, moon, rising, and midheaven. Sorry, I'm a little late getting these out. There's just a lot of stuff going on this past weekend. Not to mention, yesterday I was planning to film all of these, and one of my neighbors was getting a tree removed, so there was just this incessant grinding going on in the background. I was like, I'm not recording today. So, anywho, here we are, and let's get started. I'm gonna pull some tarot, and we'll just dive right in. So I want to pull one more card. All right, so we have the Five of Wands, Ace of Swords, Three of Cups. All right, so what I feel here is there's an energy of, I feel like if there was something that you've been trying to figure out for the first half of May, you're going to start to see clarity in the second half. And it may come in the form of you, how can I put this? It'd be in the form of you actually being receptive to some of the communications that you receive, whether it's through your guides or the people around you. I almost feel this energy of some like chance encounters happening. So whether it's through your work or if you've been getting out and about lately, that's something that I'm feeling here. As well as we have the Six of Swords in reverse on the bottom of the deck here, which to me is like maybe despite all of your efforts, you haven't been able to figure out or make a transition. Maybe you've been resistant to it in some way, but I feel like either you're getting the tools, resources, or the energy to allow yourself to make this leap, to kind of traverse this, whatever gap it is that you feel that you've been experiencing. Another thing that I'd like to bring up here is that perhaps you've just been trying to digest too much information at once. So maybe feeling a little bit of like some analysis paralysis, I would like to say. And it's just because I feel like there's an element or something at play or some type of information that is incongruent with everything else that you've been receiving lately. And so that's where perhaps you've been a little bit stuck. And so I feel like, you know, sometimes it's good to have a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips, but only if you're able to take the time to really discern and sort through these pieces of information or whatever it is, right? Because I'm looking at like these apples here behind this Ace of Swords. And so I almost feel like, you know, trying to figure out which, it's like carefully picking and choosing your apples. It can also have something to do with maybe choosing your words wisely. I know during the second half of May, we're actually going to be experiencing Mercury retrograde. So we are going to want to double check our communications, making sure we're being super clear about what we're saying, all of these different things, right? And so just kind of be on the lookout for that. If you feel like you don't have a clear sense of what you want to express or say, or you're rushing in to react to something, just give yourself a moment of pause and try to figure things out, all right? Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of crossed wires within the second half of May, but as long as you're clear within your purpose, then you'll be able to better communicate things without getting into a space of feeling exposed in the wrong ways, you know, feeling a bit exposed to perhaps negative feedback or perspectives or energy, right? Because maybe there might be people that you encounter that could be projecting something on you that doesn't feel really good. So being mindful, being able to read the room, so to speak, before you present any information, communicate anything, just really allow yourself to process it internally first and to observe your surroundings to get the best idea of how to communicate something in someone else's language, you know, in a way that they can like come from an embodied place. That way other people can actually be able to feel the resonance of what it is you're saying, even when you're not necessarily speaking their language, right? Because language can be tricky because there's a lot of emotional resonance that comes with some of the words that we speak out into the world. And so it could be just one word that kind of skews the entire message of what that we're trying to relay, right? So going a little bit deeper here and pull some oracle cards and see what we've got going on for you, Gemini, okay? Also, I feel for some of you, there may be some obstacles that I feel like you're creating before you're necessarily up against them. So avoid believing, avoid the whole notion that certain things will come into fruition if you choose to go a certain route. Like, allow yourself a little bit of space for surprise, okay? All right, so we have eccentricity, we have vision, and we have domination. So what I'm getting here is perhaps you have a lot of, either you've been having like a lot of wild dreams lately. I know that I have recently, so I might be projecting a little bit, but it seems like for some of you, you may have a really active dream state right now, and it's just your creative mind kind of working and processing through some things that you may not be able to logically navigate during your waking day-to-day, right? So in some way, it's almost like you're creatively workshopping some of the things that you hope to action or bring into motion during the second half of May. And so whatever that is, I feel like with this Ace of Swords and this Vision card, I feel in a way that whatever you're experiencing there is kind of a reflection of some of the things that have been left unresolved or maybe tied to your past, which is affecting how you're moving forward or not moving forward in whatever situation this is. Because I remember I was talking about that Six of Swords and needing to cross some type of gap, right? And with this domination card here, it could be that maybe some of you fear actually going against the grain in some way. And so that's why that prompting to really sit and reflect on whatever communications you want to share with others, whatever thoughts you want to share with others or ideas, really taking your time to make sure that you fully believe in them. Because I think that there's a certain amount of doubt that we possess when we're in the process of creating that is merely a reflection of how it will be received based off of whoever we have in mind to present it to, right? So in a way, it's like this empathic, intuitive sense where it's like we kind of know or anticipate what the other side will say once our ideas are put out there, once we share our piece. And yes, I don't think it's necessary for you to, always worry about what other people think. But if anything, just take it as an opportunity to receive feedback as you cultivate or revise whatever it is that you're about to put out into the world, that you're about to broadcast, okay? So there's that. Because it's always good to challenge yourself when you're in the process of creating or even getting clear on your intentions, right? All right, so we have the King of Swords reversed, Seven of Swords, and the Four of Cups. I feel like there's going to be a point, it's like if you don't act now, there's going to be a point where things are going to probably have to be a little bit rushed here, which could create a little bit of instability. So some of you, I feel like, might be procrastinating on something with this King of Wands, or feel like, what's the point in taking any action here? I feel like you've come across a lot of struggle just trying to get something off the ground or get something moving. And it could have to do with something about the process not being fully for yourself, right? Because a lot of the times in terms of like creativity, it's like we should be creating for ourselves first, seeing what comes and arises through that. And then if we choose, deciding the best way to frame that message or that idea for a wider audience, right? And that's why we go through many rounds of revisions when we, write something, when we create something, we fine tune it, we refine it. And so I feel like it's not that you necessarily have to start something over, but I feel like you've got to kind of put on a different hat within the creative process and allow yourself to really pay attention to the ways in which you action things throughout different points within a longer timeline, project, or goal. And that way you're less prone to procrastinating or having to rush and do things at the last minute, kind of reacting to the pressures placed upon you. Because I also feel like there may be some type of surprise, or something may come a little bit sooner than expected. Someone or something may come in a little bit sooner than expected toward the end of the month. And so you've got to be prepared and got to be ready. For instance, if someone is having a guest, expecting a guest, a house guest toward the beginning of June, right? They may arrive, perhaps a day or two early. If they're like taking a road trip, it's like, yeah, I decided not to stop anywhere, or yeah, I was going to visit this person on the way, but I'm going to be there tomorrow, right? And it's like, you haven't really cleaned the house, set up the room, all those different things, or maybe even ask for the time off to like go and do something with them, right? So putting all those things into account, I feel like it's necessary for you to be a little bit more adaptable and flexible, to offer yourself a little bit more space should things get bumped up. That way the pressure won't be on and you won't take it out on another person, right? So again, it's kind of like having that internal processing. It's like, well, if I was a little bit more prepared, then maybe I wouldn't have, been irritable at so-and-so for showing up, right? So that's just kind of what I'm initially picking up on. So let's see kind of what we're rounding out with. Any final messages that want to come out for Gemini? Okay, so we have the Eight of Wands, the Hermit, reverse, both of those are reversed, and the High Priestess. Okay. So I feel as we approach the end of May, you're really going to get a sense of whatever that thing is that could be bumped up, or you may have a sense of it now. But I feel like there's a certain amount of rebellion that's coming up, or perhaps you're really distracting yourself by feeling like there's something more important to do elsewhere, or by creating distractions for yourself, whether it's through like entertaining yourself. Maybe you want to break, maybe you want to get outside because it has been super nice, but there are all of these things that just point to you not wanting to do the work that is necessary of you, or whatever is being called of you at this time. And so it's kind of like this scattered energy. And until you actually like pinpoint and address it head on and like move through it, there's gonna be this restless kind of tension that you're gonna be carrying for a good bit of the rest of the month. Cause like I keep like getting kind of my neck kind of hurts a little bit on this side, and it's kind of going down into my arm. And so it's like there could be like I was saying, analysis paralysis, but also maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome. Because I feel like in some way, because Gemini, you do represent the twins, you represent like a shape shifter. And so maybe it feels uncomfortable having to shift shapes right now. Maybe you don't really have an idea of what that other form or version of yourself looks like, and you may be kind of caught trying to hold on to, or being in a place of feeling comfortable with a certain amount of discomfort being carried within you. And so I feel like as soon as you're able to like switch gears, you're able to identify what it is and how you're supposed to move for like this next half of the year almost. Because I almost feel like there's a certain amount of shifting gears, and part of you has maybe laid dormant for some time. And so it's hard to kind of get that momentum and build back up to get yourself into a place that feels balanced, where all parts of you feel a bit more satisfied, and that you have a certain amount of fluidity in how you show up. Because there may be part of you where some of your boundaries may be a little bit wobbly. And that could be boundaries like with yourself, like in terms of like certain like disciplines and like things that you manage on the day to day, like your routine. And so I feel like that's kind of what's being called here. It's like, you know, if anything, if you don't know what that big thing is that you need to do, or that gap that is that you're trying to cross, start with your day to day, start with your everyday routine. What can you shift with that? You know, with just a couple days left in Taurus season, it's really important to ground yourself in some type of ritual or routine that helps you stay grounded and allows you to focus on bigger things when they show up. So, because you may end up, even kind of going back to my story about the person showing up early, it could also be that, you know, an opportunity may come in and you're a little out of practice, right? And so if you rush in to do the thing, it may take a little bit longer than expected, or there may be some frustration. And so you feel like you're kind of caught with your pants down, so to speak. So be mindful of that, Gemini. Outside of that, that is all that I have for you for the time being. If you'd like to book a session with me, click the link below. Other than that, I will see you in June. Bye.